Hey, hi there. My name's Teresa Martinovich. I work as a counsellor at Health and Counselling Services based in Albany, Auckland. And I'm going to be talking to you today about coping with life and some strategies of how to hopefully help you to cope with life. And I've brought along a colleague of mine, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I'm also a counsellor at the Health and Counselling Centre at Massey University.
Yeah. But for the purposes of today, Lynn will be acting like a participant. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So this is my work email address if you're needing to contact me. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about coping with life. I wonder why I can't get on to the next slide. We'll just have some clouds moving just to get us into the frame. So what does coping with life actually mean? And I've had a look for some description of it. And it's about having the ability to deal with and attempt to overcome problems and difficulties. So it's about really being resilient. So resilience is a process. And experts agree that coping is a process rather than an event. So it's not just one simple thing that you can do to make yourself be able to cope with life better. It's a process of things. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. And I'm going to ask Lynn for answers to some of these questions. And I want you to think for yourself what signals you have that you know that you actually aren't coping. It's really good to have that self-awareness so that if in the future you're in this place, you will be able to identify that that's where you're at. So Lynn, if you weren't coping well, what sort of thoughts might be going through your mind?
Yeah, probably the first I would think, what a life is so busy and so boring. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have thought. I probably also would have the thoughts like, oh, this is too hard. I'm not competent to do it. I'm not good enough type of thoughts. Yeah.
Okay. So quite self-deprecating thoughts that you're not good enough, that things are just too difficult for you, but that you are an intruder at what you're doing and not making a good job of things.
Yeah.
Okay. And often the same thoughts go round and round. Does that happen to you, Lynn?
Yes, it's probably just like coming in just the non-stop self-blame like type of things. I was always saying, oh, what a terrible thing I've done, and what a person I have been. Like, yeah, I would blame myself. Yeah. That's like can be happening again and again. Yeah.
So self-blame. And I just noticed your hand going like this, which means it's often like a circle. The same thoughts keep returning back to you again.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And what sort of feelings might you be having?
I think first I will feel really, really tired. Yeah, I'll feel tired, exhausted. And I also feel sometimes really sad. And sometimes just feeling really empty as well.
Wow. So empty and sad and tired, exhausted. Yeah. Unhappy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What behaviors might you engage in that you know that's signal to you?
For me, I would notice that I don't want to face the task. So I try to avoid the task, procrastinate. Yeah, it's very common for me. I can do anything else, just not doing, for example, like assignment. It could be a big stressor for me that I try to avoid assignment. Yeah. Or sometimes I just go through my phone. Not really particularly for something. I just try to avoid to do my stuff. Yeah.
So distracting your attention by just being on your phone.
Yeah, because I will feel a little bit better I feel like I can forget about those bad feelings. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a lot more like an escape to get
Yeah.
away from those feelings and distract your attention by looking on your phone instead.
Yeah. I also sometimes stay up really late to do my work. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I just
that's
feel
good.
like, I just feel like guilty if I really don't do work. So sometimes, like especially before the exams, I can study a whole week without really rest.
Mhm.
Mm,
Okay, so changes in your sleeping patterns happen. You may be procrastinating, but you also may be studying really hard.
yeah.
So you're a bit all over the place, really, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. It's
What,
really depend on my like mood sometimes. Yeah.
and what about with your relationships with other people? Are you tending to be with people more or less?
Less. I normally just try to withdraw from people.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
And what are some physical symptoms that you aren't coping?
My main symptoms could be like I feel I lost my appetite.
Okay, so
Yeah.
eating less because you've
Yeah.
got less appetite. Yep.
And also find it really hard to fall asleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are behaviors again. Do you
Mm-mm.
feel anything physically within your body?
Oh yeah. As I said, the reason I feel I lost the appetite is because my stomach I feel really heavy, like
Mhm.
full.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of feeling. Our whole body feel really heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And is that around your shoulder area? Because again, you're pointing to your shoulders.
Yeah. Sometimes even have the shoulder pain or
Yeah.
my neck pain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you. So that's really helpful. So think about what those signals are for yourself. Okay, for anybody watching. Thanks, Lynn. So here are some typical warning signs that you aren't coping. Lynn's already talked about procrastination, avoiding. She mentioned the negative thoughts, feeling stressed physically and emotionally. Exhaustion can be another sign. Sleeping problems she spoke about. Having an inability to focus or concentrate. She spoke about isolating herself, withdrawing from other people. This is a common one, you know, using more drugs or alcohol than what you have been. Eating problems, either binging or not having an appetite at all. And of course, stress can lead to other mental health issues like anxiety or depression. Okay, so things to look out for.
Mm.
So this is the stress curve, the Yerkes-Dodson law, the inverted U model. And if you look at this bell curve, if we don't have any stress in our life along the bottom level, low levels of stress, we don't perform. Okay, if there's no stress whatsoever, what's the point in even getting out of bed? Okay, I have the alarm clock, which is a stressor, wakes me up and it gets me out of bed. When we don't have any stress in our lives, we're fatigued, we're sleepy. Okay, when we need stress, we need to think of stress as not just being a bad thing. They call it eustress or good stress. Okay? And that's what you're doing in your studies. This is your eustress because it's giving you a challenge. It's giving you something to focus on. And when you focus on that, it increases your attention and your interest. So you're going up that first red arrow. And where we want you to get to, you know, is optimal arousal. That's where you're working at your peak. You are managing and dealing with life's challenges. That may be study and it may be outside study as well. But if we get too much stress on our plate, then we move into distress, which is past that smiley face and heading down into the pink, the red state. And that's where we start noticing strong stress, we start noticing anxiety, our performance is impaired. We're not working at our best space, okay? And we become unproductive. So good to have an awareness of this curve. Lynn, have you ever been in a place where you are in the place of distress?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
a lot of time it's in the pink pink area. Yeah.
And can you tell us what sort of behaviours you were aware of when you were in that space?
As I mentioned, like avoidance type of behavior. Yeah, that's probably, oh yeah, the one thing is I noticed actually sometimes I would work really, really hard to resolve the problem. But after that, I would feel like, I want to do some rewarding, but actually not. I thought it's a rewarding, and then I start to like do all this avoidance stuff. Like I go my phone and watch those YouTube videos all lots of time, not even go to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I feel like, oh, that's actually caused a lots of like for me, stay in the pink area. I guess it's because my avoidance behavior.
Yeah. So to keep an eye out for avoiding, not facing up to the things that you need to be doing or that you know are important for you to do in that place. So, as we talked about, some stress is normal. Having problems is normal. But how would you know for in yourself that you are in the danger zone? Okay? And of course, the ultimate biggest issue in the danger zone is if you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts or planning. That is a very firm notification that something is seriously wrong, and this is where you absolutely 100% need to reach out and get some extra help, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Other signs could be that you are isolating yourself from others, that there are extreme changes in your behaviour of what you normally do, that you're feeling burnt out, that you are feeling completely exhausted, that you are having intense emotions that are completely out of character for you. You may be crying a lot, or you may start being really angry at people. You may start missing classes altogether and continually missing deadlines. And this is a problem because things start snowballing. It's easy for that to happen. And once again, increased use of drugs and alcohol. So these are things to look out for in yourself and other people, your friends. So if you weren't coping, where might you get help? Okay, these are the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Of course, the top of the cliff is the ambulance. This is for extreme medical situations. You would phone the ambulance, and in New Zealand, that is phoning 111. If you're worried about somebody, that they are at imminent risk of hurting themselves or somebody else, the mental health crisis team is the number to phone, 0800 800 717. If you've got extreme anxiety, the anxiety helpline is useful. There's their 0800 number, or you can just phone 0800 anxiety. Okay, some great clinicians on board that helpline. If you just want somebody to talk stuff over with, it's the middle of the night, you're thinking, I could ring my friends, but actually, I don't want to bother them because it's the middle of the night. Lifeline is the place to call. 095 222 999, or once again, the 0800 number. And a more recent common addition to the 24-hour helplines is the need to talk. What's useful about this number, 1737, is not only can you phone them, but you can also text them. Okay, if you feel that you're unable to talk, but you want to text somebody, contact the Need to Talk 1737. And if you are feeling that you can manage and you want just some help, somebody to talk over your issues with, that you're wanting health and counselling services, which is where Lynn and I are both based, there's 3 ways of contacting us. Well, 4 ways actually. You can email studenthealth@massey.ac.nz. You can phone us on our direct line 213 6700. But the most common way that people access counselling services is to complete the online assessment form, which is found on the Massey website. If you simply Google counselling services, Massey, Auckland. Or you can drop into us at level 2. Of course, at the moment, there's very few staff on site because of the COVID restrictions, but we're hopeful as the year goes by that those will be less and you will be able to just simply drop in. We are open 5 days a week, 8:30 to 4:30, the whole year apart from the 2 weeks at Christmas. Okay, so health and counselling services. And although I'm speaking about the counselling services, we also have a full medical team, doctors and nurses who are available for your medical needs. So thinking, going back to coping with life, you know, how can you help yourself if you are having problems with your life? And this is a really helpful model, the CBT model, or cognitive behavioural model, because it shows how everything we do influences all the parts of ourself. And if we change any one area, that also will affect other parts of ourself. So looking at the model, if we think of a situation, okay, whatever a situation may be, say that you're feeling anxious, think about some of the thoughts you might be having. Lynn spoke about, you know, self-blaming thoughts. I'm just not good enough. I'm not able to do this. Then she spoke about behaviours that would be attached to that. Lynn, would you like to respond to that? When you have those thoughts, how might you behave?
Yeah, for example, like when I have a lot of assignments due, I supposed to like have a really good time management, but actually I just keep like stay really late and keep studying, and then after that I will want to have fun and just go through my phone and will binge watch the TV, all those type of things. Yeah.
Okay. So lots of unhelpful behaviours Lynn's talking about in response to not feeling good enough. Then, because you're feeling behind in your studies, because you haven't completed them, because you're so busy having fun on your phone, where might you feel the stress within your body, going down to bodily sensations?
Yeah, I just basically like pain, back pain, and stomach, upset stomach. And occasionally I would have really bad headache. Yeah.
Okay, so lots of bodily stuff happening for Lynn. And then moving on from there, how will all of those things make you feel? What will be the result of this?
Really overwhelmed with anxiety, like really a lot of worry about my future, like and feeling hate myself sometimes, and feel really depressed sometimes even.
So again, you know, she's saying that she's moving on to more thoughts of self-doubt and self-hatred, and moving on to more extreme behaviours of depression. So see how this can sort of spiral itself around. But the good news is, if you approach coping with life from any one of these 4 areas, you can unwind that coil, so to speak. For example, if Lynn focused on her bodily sensations by just going for a walk around the block, okay, going for a walk, taking some time out, appreciating the world outside herself, that bodily sensation focus may then make her feel better in general. And it may be helpful to her thoughts, which in turn will make her feel a bit happier, hopefully. But we'll talk about some ways of doing this. I wanted to put in this slide about Maslow. You may have seen this before. It's taught in a lot of departments at university. Abraham Maslow drew this up in 1954. It's an extremely old model, but it's so useful. It talks about how we are often trying to reach this place of becoming self-actualization. We want to be the best possible version of who we are. And at university, I presume that this is sort of at the level of building our own esteem, okay? But these things are quite high up the pyramid. We need to also be mindful that there are physiological needs right at the base, okay? And we need to remember that we need to look after our base, our foundation, before we're looking further up the pyramid at esteem or being self-actualized. And by physiological needs, I'm talking about remembering the importance of eating healthily. There's three things: eating healthily, getting good, healthy sleep, okay, and getting some exercise. Those three things are essential for your well-being. So look at those things, keep remembering to bear those things in mind, okay? Lynn spoke a lot about how her sleep pattern gets out of whack because she's so busy up on looking at searching fun things on her phone and on the computer. So notice that for yourself. And remember, sleep, exercise, eating healthily and regularly. This speaks about the importance of having a lifestyle balance, okay? Thinking for yourself. It's not just all about the yellow piece of the pie, which is education. Okay, you need other things in your life as well. And I'll read these out to you because they are slightly blurry. There's education, career, finances, creativity, spirituality, joy, social life, relationships, home environment, home cooking or home health, physical activity, and health. Okay, so think about what might you need more of in your life to get that balance in place. And additionally, what could you forego? You know, is there something here that you're doing that you actually don't need for now? Okay, and there is no right and wrong answer about this. A good idea for this pie chart is to get a pen and draw on for yourself how much of the piece of each pie is full for you. Okay, and then get another colour and write in where you'd like it to be. And from that, you can find out, you know, what's missing in my life? What do I need more of? What might I need less of? When you become stressed, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Okay, we are programmed to look out for danger, and that's been there since the caveman days. And the caveman would go out hunting and he would see the saber-toothed tiger or the big woolly mammoth. The sympathetic nervous system kicks in, he starts shallow breathing, he moves into fight or flight mode, his heart beats faster, his blood pressure goes up, he's ready to either fight this big woolly mammoth or run away. Okay? The problem is we still have exactly the same sympathetic nervous system as the caveman happening for things that aren't big woolly mammoths, that are smaller things, but that we get really stressed out about. And there are only two ways that you can change the sympathetic nervous system and bring in the parasympathetic nervous system, and that is either to relax or to meditate. Okay? And meditation and mindfulness is taking over lots of areas of health at the moment. I mean, if you Google it, you will just get millions of hits because it's found to be so valuable in helping people cope with life and manage stress. Mindfulness, a good description of that is, it is purposefully paying attention in the present moment without judgment. Okay, because often what we're doing is we are thinking about things that we need to do, scheduling, planning in the future, or thinking back, regretting or remembering things that we've already done. When we're in both of those places, we're not in the present. Okay, and when Lynn distracts her attention onto her phone playing games, additionally, she's not paying attention to what needs doing right now. So she would really benefit or could benefit from meditation or mindfulness. If you're wanting some help around this, Meditation, you think it's something you'd like to give it a go, download the Headspace app. And we have a thing here at Massey, which is pretty special. It's called MMMM, or Massey Midday Monday Mindfulness. It happens every Monday at Massey online, and when we can, we also meet in person as well. And it's half an hour of guided meditation, and it's a mixture of staff and students of Massey. If you're wanting a link to come along to that, just send me an email. You've got my details on the first part of this presentation, and I can send you the link. You don't have to book in, you just turn up. It's completely free and it's fun, and it will help your stress levels. There's also Koru mindfulness groups which are running throughout the year for staff and for students. Separately, those groups are. Again, if you're wanting to learn more about mindfulness and meditation, drop me an email and I will give you the details for the next group that's happening. So 10 basic strategies to help build your resilience. Number 1, make connections, get together with other people. Avoid seeing crises as insurmountable problems. Okay, remember, you can do anything. Accept that change is part of living. Okay, things do change, things move on. Move towards your goal, and even if you're just taking 10 minutes towards that goal, that's still 10 minutes towards that goal. Acknowledge that. Take decisive actions. Don't just keep doing what you've been doing. Do something different. Take an action. Look for opportunities for self-discovery. Grab them with both hands. And, Lynn spoke a lot about this negative self-talk towards herself. Nurture a positive view of yourself. And if you struggle to do that, come to counselling and talk to us about that. We can help you. Remember to keep things in perspective. Okay, tomorrow is another day. The only really huge problem in life is if somebody is dead or dying. Keep things in perspective. What may be a big problem today, in a week's time, will you even remember it? Maintain a hopeful outlook. Keep being hopeful, and especially take care of yourself. Okay, be your own best friend. Sounds a bit twee, but it's true. And if you want to know more about coping with life, I run a coping with life group. It doesn't start till July, 5 weeks. Those are the dates. These are the 6 areas that we cover: causes, effects of stress, stress management, lifestyle balance, assertiveness, setting boundaries, mindfulness, challenging unhelpful thoughts and thinking, identifying and managing feelings, and good sleep hygiene. So if you're wanting a space on that, please let me know. It's a free, all of the groups at Massey are free. And just to finish off, these are the 10 commandments for reducing stress. You may have heard the 10 commandments somewhere else, but these are the ones specifically for reducing stress. So I'm going to get Lynn to read out every other one. I'll start out with, thou shalt not be perfect, nor even try to be.
Thou shalt not try to be all things to all people.
Thou shalt leave things undone that ought to be done.
Thou shalt not spread thyself to thing.
Thou shalt learn to say no.
Thou shalt schedule time for thyself and thou supportive network.
Yeah. Thou shalt switch off and do nothing regularly.
Thou shalt be boring, untidy, inelegant, and unattractive at times.
Yeah. And thou shalt not even feel guilty about it.
Especially thou shalt not be thy own worst enemy, but be thy best friend.
Absolutely. Okay. So thank you very much for spending that time with us today. And please be in contact with us if we can be of help. And anything you wanted to say, Lynn?
Yeah, thank you, Teresa, to share those with us. And I think it's very useful for me as well. Yeah.
Lovely. That's nice to hear. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Thank you.